Hello, welcome to Spotlight, a ray of hope in the gathering winter gloom.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
This evening, a chat with the creators and directors of a very special community play celebrating perhaps the most famous ship to come out of Ramsey shipyards. And it's not all blues down south, as the second Jazz Festival takes place in Port Erin. As always, do get in touch with any creative, artistic endeavours you may be involved in, you're planning, hoping to create, or would really like to put in the spotlight, be they altogether now poetic, visual, theatrical, musical, literary, mime, and anything else. Just email me, spotlight@manxradio.com, or of course howardkane@manxradio.com. I don't care which, as long as you do it. So first, up north. Or is that down north? To hear about a new play based around one of the more famous vessels to be built on the Isle of Man, in Ramsey shipyards to be exact. It's still in existence, but now sadly you'll have to go to San Diego to see it. And if you're very lucky, sail on it. The Star of India. It's being brought to life in drama and song by writers Heather Ruffino and Marilyn Cannell, who dropped by to tell me more.
It all began back in 2013. I was involved in helping with the exhibition for Ramsey Commissioners at the Town Hall for the 150th anniversary of the Star of India's building and launch in 1863 in Ramsey Shipyard. And as I had formed Cloydron Northern Theatre, they asked me what about the possibility of doing an enactment as part of the exhibition to depict her story. So I wrote a quick script and Alan Gelling narrated it, and I wrote a song for the end, and it came about. But as a result, I always had in my head, there was a seed planted that I always thought it would have the grounds for making a proper musical from it, for Manx history and especially for Ramsey. So that's what I thought. So I approached Marilyn Cannell, my partner in crime, and henceforth Marilyn's a whiz with music. I like writing lyrics, so does Marilyn, and I got a script together. And this is how it's come to fruition.
So that where you came in then, Marilyn, on actually composing mostly on the compositional side of it then?
Well, what happened, that Heather had mentioned it 4 or 5 years ago, and I sort of said, it'd be interesting to try and write some music for it. And then COVID came. But over COVID, when I was stuck in for 12 weeks, as so many people were, Heather started sending me scripts, ideas for songs, and I actually wrote 9 songs during those 12 weeks. And we've been going to put the show on twice, and it's been cancelled with COVID and other things that impeded us, but this is the third go, and we've slotted in 9 songs, and we put the original song that Heather wrote for the 150th enactment, we do that at the end. The people who are in it, they're not singers, and I had to teach them the songs. Usually if it's a pantomime, they generally know the songs that they're going to sing.
Yeah, they know the tunes.
But Heather said that when we start practicing, Marilyn, we want to do 4 or 5 weeks just on the songs. So
Sounds
that
good.
they could. But I find them going through my head in the middle of the night.
I wake up with it in the morning. I'm singing about
They're
Euterpe's bell
quite
and
simple songs, Howard.
down in the shipyard things, you know.
They're a bit raucous, but they're supposed to be shipyard
Yes,
workers. I say
exactly.
to them, this is not an operatic aria.
Proper, yeah.
Yeah, your raucous shipyard workers.
Sailors' songs and working men's songs. So
Well,
can you give us a sort of précis without giving any away of the sort of plot, as it were?
It begins. It's sort of set like a docu-musical over time, and it's the fisherman of modern day, which is Alex, and the 2 ladies, they're sisters. One lives in America, in San Diego, where the ship is, and the other sister lives in the UK. So she comes over to visit her sister, and they both want to come to the Isle of Man to see where the Star of India was built, because the sister lives in San Diego. She loves the ship and everything. So it boils down to that. And they meet this fisherman, and they start talking. So they come in and out of the story, sort of narrating it as it goes along, and then there's a different scene from what they've said, and it starts back with the launch. It starts with the fisherman, the shipbuilder, being told that they were going to build this big iron-hulled ship 205 feet long, and they're quite surprised about this. That's a big task. And then it goes on to the launch when they've built her, the celebrations and her launch. And it also gives a little insight to the life of Ramsey then, how it was with the fishermen as well as the shipbuilders and the wives and how they lived, etc. So it goes on to singing about the fishermen as well. And then it goes through stories about, there's a little story about her bell, the ship's bell, with Euterpe written on it, where it's engraved, which is still on the ship now, because they never changed the name off the bell. It's supposed to be unlucky, even if she's given a new name. So
was she the Euterpe originally, then the Star of
Euterpe
India?
was,
Euterpe
she was
the
launched.
Greek goddess of music and lyric prose.
That's right.
Terrific.
So there's even a little, this is the tale about that with the bell, and then Euterpe, the figurehead. And we've got a lovely young lady who's to dance, is supposed to be the figurehead dancing, and she does a little mythical dance as coming alive as the figurehead. And then it goes on to
the various things it did in its life. Really.
Exactly. There's the emigrants, for example, travelling on the ship and how hard it was life. There's the crew. I mean, Captain Story, he was the captain that took her on a maiden voyage, and the first crew, they were drunken and disorderly.
Thrown in jail.
They were thrown in jail because they crashed into a Spanish brig and damaged the ship very badly on a maiden voyage. So they got punished, and Captain Story still kept his post. He got another crew. But bad luck struck again. They were hit by a cyclone. She got damaged again. The ship, lots of people got sick, and Captain Story got very sick.
And we have a death scene, huh?
Yes.
Oh,
very
hang
exciting.
on.
Oh, we do. We have a
Oh, it's very emotional.
Yes, he's lying on the deck like this, a bit like Nelson was. No, it's just going through some of the important parts have happened, and because over her time, for when she was built, she circumnavigated the world 21 times. That
That's
ship,
amazing, isn't it?
and she's beautiful. She's absolutely lovely. I've been on board her. And I was in awe, and when they found out I was from Ramsey and what we did and everything, because they made a big fuss.
And she's in San Diego now,
She's
is that
in
right?
San Diego.
Yeah.
She's
Maritime
a star attraction there. And when you look at the way she is, and she was built with the men purely by hand. They'd no machinery, they'd nothing like that, and the big rivets and everything that we used. The young boys used to knock all the rivets in, and they were called rivet trotters. So there's all sorts of things like that, and it brings to light. And to think that she was actually still going now, and she's beautiful. She's the only iron-hulled sailing ship still, and she sails under licence about once a year.
Wow.
Because she's no technology on board. She's as she was
Hasn't been
renovated,
modernised at all.
and I'm going to sail on her next year.
Oh, that's
And
I've been
it's
invited
just-
to sail
It was a
on her next
wonderful
year, so-
coincidence, Alex. I didn't know a lot about the Star of India, so
Yeah.
I went on the internet. And
This is a lovely
got it up, and they have a festival every year, and the highlight is that the Star of India takes to the water.
Mm-hmm.
It looks with all the sails and everything.
It's beautiful.
And they were having a little celebration on board the Star of India. And when I looked it up, there was a folk group. And this chap said, and now our group are going to play something called the Euterpe Waltz. And he said, this is a piece of music that was written by a composer from New Zealand who, as a lad, emigrated with his family to New Zealand aboard the Euterpe. And when he grew up, he was a musician and a teacher, and he wrote music, and he wrote a waltz, which he dedicated to the Euterpe. So we've got Euterpe dancing to part of the waltz.
That's the figurehead dancing. Yeah.
And I've taken some of the tunes from the waltz and incorporated into a song that the emigrants are singing as they're going to New Zealand. And it was just total coincidence that this fellow was talking, and your ears prick up, and I didn't know what to do. So I asked one of my girls, who's very good, and she did whatever she needs to do, and found a copy in a museum in New Zealand, and they texted it to me, and
Wow.
I have this copy of the Euterpe Waltz by Llewellyn Owen.
And a 2 and a 1, 2, 3, 4.
So it's wonderful then to have this beautiful ship sort of documented in both in sort of prose and in song now by this play. Now you mentioned a little bit, or at least you mentioned one name in the cast. I mean, I suppose it's unfair to try and name check everyone, but a partially all-star cast at the very least, by the sound of it.
Honestly, everybody are amazing. I'm very proud of all of you. I hope you listen to
All of
this.
you. There you go.
You are all brilliant, and I'm so chuffed. I'm so overwhelmed. But they do sing. They're lovely. They all have lovely voices. They're good singers. They're part of the summer singers and choirs and things like that. But they've all come together, and it's new for them because some of them have never done this, been on stage like this, acting and singing like that. They're used to choirs and everything else, but it's just amazing how it's come together. And not only that, but it's I've been in touch with San Diego, with the Maritime Museum, and the president, Dr. Ray Ashley, and his wife. I've been in touch with him, explaining that what we're doing, because they'd be interested about it. And it snowballed because he sent an email to me saying, well, he said, we are going to come over, and there's himself and his wife and 13 other members coming over from San Diego Maritime Museum. Wow. Especially they're flying over to see the show and give us a presentation, and to us and to the governor, our governor. So that's the Saturday evening, the 15th. So that's very special.
And it's just a simple piano accompaniment throughout.
It's all done with piano,
fancy
Marilyn.
No full
sound
orchestra.
effects.
So
No,
nice.
Local orchestra, that's me.
There's no there's no technical music. We have sound effects for sequels and all sorts of things.
Excellent. So it's proper. It's proper. I mean, is the cast mostly from the north of the island as well, or from the north, or is it from all
It's
around
mostly
the island?
northern,
Yeah.
mostly northern, community, yeah.
So proper community theatre in its true
very
spirit,
much.
with, like I said,
Yeah.
a really fantastic local theme. Now you mentioned some of the dates there. So there's 2 weekends it's running there. The governor's going to one, I believe you were saying.
Yes, he's going on the first Saturday evening, the 15th.
So that's the 14th and the 15th, and then it's on again the following weekend, the 21st and the 22nd
It is,
of October.
yes.
This is at St Paul's Hall. Now,
Yeah.
the all-important question, of course, is can anyone go, and how do they get tickets?
Right, well, the tickets are on sale at the Bridge Bookshop in Ramsey, and you can also pay at the door if you wish, but ticket holders have priority. In other words, they have guaranteed a seat to sit on, but the seating is not numbered, so it's first come, first service to where you seat.
Every man, woman and child for themselves.
Indeed.
And then you can take a certain number that can pay at the door. So, there is one other point I'd like to make. Also, at Ramsey Courthouse, in conjunction with the show, Richard Ratcliffe and Les Clark, they often do historical photograph exhibitions for certain events. So they're doing a proper maritime themed exhibition of photographs of old Ramsey to do with the shipyard, the shipbuilding and fishermen, etc. And also there'll be more information about the Star of India, and that's at Ramsey Courthouse from the Saturday the 14th through to the following Saturday the 22nd through the daytime.
Terrific.
So everybody can go and have a look at that exhibition as
Go and
well.
check that out.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
It is all happening up north, so get yourself up there. You've got 2 weekends to go up there, 14th, 15th, 21st, 22nd. Get the ticket in advance. Take your chances on the door if you like, but plenty going on. It only remains to say thanks very much for coming in, and break a leg to all involved.
Thank you very much.
Sounds great, doesn't it? There's a starring role for the island's Treasury Minister, no less, so I'm told. And also, Heather was telling me they have special permission to have a model of the Star of India, which is usually on display at the Manx Museum, I believe. On display, specially, at the play venue, so people can see just what the star looked like. I also love the fact that little excerpt of the Euterpe waltz we heard was introduced with the count 1, 2, 3, 4.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
Now, from north to south, all roads lead to Port Erin this weekend, at least all the jazzy ones do, as the second Port Erin Jazz Festival swings into action. The festival was the brainchild of Jerry the Prez Carter, who told me year 2 of the festival is where things start to get a little harder.
Yes, this is a follow-on, and it's the equivalent of second album syndrome, because it's easy to do something as a one-off, but to sustain it is a little
That's
more
the hard
challenging.
part.
Yeah. So we've had some extremely good sponsorship from Ravenscroft. We've been involved with Ravenscroft in sport, and well, I don't want to plug the sponsors too much, but they get involved. They seem to want to take an interest in things. So as a result of the additional sponsorship, we're able to book more artists this year. So we've got a lot of well-known people coming over this year.
Terrific. So it's kicking up on the Friday evening?
Yeah, we've got Mike Diver's Blue Train Big Band starting proceedings with a very wonderful big band music and some rather indifferent Hawaiian shirts. But that'll get everyone's feet tapping.
A good way to get going. You can't go wrong. I mean, there is something about a big band, I must admit. I'm amazed that there's still so many big bands around when it's so difficult to pull guys and girls together.
It's lovely, and he makes... part of his rationale is everybody in the band has to solo. So if you're fifth saxophone or fifth trombone, you're still going to get up and have to do a solo. And I think that's very good for everyone. And there's a lot of younger people in the big band enjoying it, which it's wonderful. It's a win-win-win.
Marvellous. Great way to get going with the big band then. And then coming later on, we have Martin Taylor coming over again, the fantastic guitar player.
Martin Taylor, who's no stranger to the Isle of Man, and he's with Alison Burns, who they've been doing a tour. And he's very keen to come back to the island. It's the first time he's played at the Air and Arts Centre. So they'll be doing a sort of duet of the 1922 tour.
I didn't realise that. I thought he played at the EAC before. It's his first gig there.
I think it's his first gig there. He's played at the Gaiety. I think I saw him in 1983 with Stefan Grappelli.
Yes, you know what? I think I saw that same gig.
It was a great gig.
Yes.
So he's been a regular ever since.
I do. The one I remember about that, seeing Stefan, because I think my dad was alive then, and he said, "Come back and meet Stefan." And we went back, and Stefan wasn't very complimentary about the Gaiety piano at the time. Yes, but he was, a real character, I must admit. So terrific stuff. Martin Taylor and Alison Burns. If you've not seen Martin before, he's one of the best guitar players in the British Isles, if not further afield. Fantastic, a wonderful sound, and a really nice guy as well. Like you say,
yes.
regular over here as well. This is, and then moving on, we have Becky Rourke and the Leeds College of Music Band.
Yeah, this was an idea last year from Dave Newton, who's a big supporter of jazz in the Isle of Man, as you know, is a senior lecturer at Leeds Jazz College. And to fill in, we got the cream of the Leeds Jazz College band trio. They came over last year. They were absolutely marvellous musicians. If that's the future of jazz, nothing to worry about, really. And they wanted to come back. And Becky Rourke was supposed to play with them last year. She's a saxophonist who again went to Leeds Jazz College. She was in the same class at Leeds Jazz College as Jackie Murray Grace.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, they were sort of besties at the university. Becky did a few gigs in March in the island, which were sold out. And so she's playing with them on the Saturday evening.
It's terrific stuff, and again, you're right. I think some of these big bands or some of the colleges like the Leeds College, I've seen the Leeds College of Music Band before, and the standard there of musicianship, and as you say, every time I see them, sometimes, the bad news is you sometimes want to give up yourself.
Yeah.
Think, oh my Lord, I've been banging away for years, and
yeah.
Here's someone a quarter of my age, 100 times better already, and you think, what's the point? However, as you say, from the point of view of jazz and blues and all good music, when you see the standard coming through there, you think the future's looking very bright, bearing in mind that every other year you hear that jazz is dying, and then you think, well, it can't be if these people are coming through the colleges.
Absolutely.
The standard is mind-blowing. Two names, as you say, you mentioned Dave Newton and Alan Barnes, of course, no stranger to the Isle of Man, no stranger to anyone who has enjoyed sort of good mainstream jazz for the last more years than he cares to remember, I dare say.
Yeah. They just love coming over here, and we love having them. It's simple as that. It's a match made in heaven. I went to see Alan Barnes with an orchestra perform Duke Ellington's Sacred Music at York Minster in the summer, and it was a very spiritual experience. He's really, by his own admission, on top form at the moment, so we're really looking forward to this.
And again, if you ever see him in that duo with Dave Newton, it's almost sort of telepathic.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's a very good word to describe it.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost. But it's just that great thing which particularly people who've not seen jazzers before say, how do they know when, that, well, they just sort of seem to know what each other's going to do. And I think that's the nature of jazz in many ways, and the nature of really good jazz musicians. There is that, call it telepathy, call it just experience, call it practice, musicality, all of the above. But this ability when you see two people like that who just be able to have a musical conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind-blowing stuff. Now then, also, possibly, I'm told that another star event of the weekend is the Bus Pass Blues Band.
Well, they've had more reincarnations than Fleetwood Mac and the Rolling Stones, but this time we have Manx Radio's very own multi-talented Mr. Mark Tiley is guesting with us.
Yes.
Mark's been rehearsing with us, and I don't want to get him in a situation where he's feeling vain, but my goodness, can he play? How you can go into a strange band and immediately pick up the vibe as to what they're doing and be sympathetic to it. So we are really looking forward to the afternoon. We're in the Bay with Mark guesting with us, and the rest of the Bus Pass band are really quite excited. Some of the members of the band have to get a pass out from the nursing home to be able to play, but other than that, we're very confident.
Well, we better give him a name check now you mentioned. So who else is in the band?
In the band, we've got John Collister on playing bass, Jim Horton's deputising on drums, and we've got Alan Pressford's playing 6 strings rather than 4, and Lauren Gray's started off. She's Chris Gray's sister, and Lauren is a really very, very talented singer, jazz and blues singer, and I'm warbling on tenor saxophone in between, nipping off. I'm in charge of all the beer vouchers and the gin distribution for the weekend, which is what could possibly go wrong.
What could possibly go wrong? I shudder to think. We should also say, actually, speaking of speaking of live events and getting down there, nothing going wrong. Nothing will go wrong. Of course, nothing can go wrong. But it's all being streamed live.
Yeah, Greenlight TV are live streaming, and this is with some support from the Department of Enterprise. So there are several sites to go on. Probably best to inquire with the Air and Arts Centre or Greenlight as to where the best place to live stream it is. It's free live streaming. There's an honesty box if people want to help contribute to the cost of the festival, but it's basically streaming live. That's just the evening events at the Air and Arts. The afternoon events at the Bay and the Falcon's Nest aren't streaming.
Great. So there we go then. Something for everyone there, and if you can't actually get down in person, you can catch some of the action and some of the great sounds as well via the Greenlight live stream. Just give us the details again if people are wanting to go down. So the afternoons, as you say, Bay and the Falcon, and the evenings at the EAC. If people want to go along, what's the best thing to do?
Best thing to do, tickets are nearly sold out at the EAC, so get on the website now and order your tickets. Just turn up in the afternoon. It's from about 1:30 at either the Bay or the Falcon's Nest. I have to say, it was all local artists in the afternoon on the Saturday. I just could not believe how well everybody played last year. I think they were sort of revved up for it, inspired by the artists that were over. But everybody who played last year at the 2 local venues in the afternoon, the standard was, again, what's wrong with the state of jazz if that's it?
Oh, I know, it's amazing. And again, we often say this, the island always punches above its weight in so many different areas. Jazz and music in particular, I think we are really well represented. Will you be wearing, this is the main thing I suppose, will you have a pork pie hat on, seeing as you're the Prez?
Well, I have a pork pie hat, but my wife doesn't like it. She says I look like an extra from a sort of Guy Ritchie film or something, so I have a pork pie hat, but it might stay in the cupboard.
It'll be great, I guarantee it. Sadly, I don't think I'm going to be able to get down. Typical. Next year, I know. That's about it for this week. Don't forget, if you want to hear anything again, go to manxradio.com, download the Spotlight podcast, listen wherever you want. On the loo, perhaps. Who knows? We'll be back next week when, amongst other things, we'll be hearing about the Big Brie weekend and enjoy a walk around the art space at the Erin Arts Centre. Drop me a line with any other artistic thoughts or ideas. Stay creative, and I'll see you next week. Cheerio.